Every day, people wake up and want things. They want wealth, they want companionship, they want success, they want a sense of peace. They spend their entire lives chasing these concepts, burning vast amounts of physical and mental fuel. But if you observe the mechanics of human life closely, a very distinct pattern emerges. The more intensely a person wants something, the faster it seems to run away from them. The harder they grasp, the more empty their hands remain. Most people call this bad luck or an unfair world, but this is not bad luck. This is pure mechanics. You possess a vibrational blueprint, an invisible but very real electromagnetic signature that dictates exactly what physical matter, events, and circumstances can enter your proximity. If you are constantly repelling what you deeply desire, it is fundamentally because your blueprint is structurally designed to push it away. To understand how this happens, you must look at the basic realities of quantum physics. Quantum mechanics has clearly demonstrated that the physical world is not a solid fixed construct. At the subatomic level, everything exists as a probability. An electron does not exist in a defined physical state until it is observed. Before that, it exists merely as a wave of potential. This phenomenon is known as the collapse of the wave function. The observer effect dictates that the act of observation changes the behavior of the particle. But here is the critical misunderstanding that keeps humanity trapped in endless cycles of frustration. People assume they are observing reality solely with their eyes or their conscious intellect. They believe their passing thoughts are the observer. You do not collapse the quantum wave function with a thought. You collapse it with your entire energetic system. Your physical and subtle body is a continuous, high-powered frequency generator. Ancient esoteric sciences understood this reality thousands of years before the advent of modern physics. They mapped the human system not merely as flesh, bone, and blood, but as a highly sophisticated network of energy centers, traditionally referred to as chakras. These centers are not mystical wheels of light or imaginary concepts. They are very real, very dense junctions where the biological nervous system intersects with the subtle energetic body. They process, regulate, and emit specific electromagnetic frequencies. The lower centers, the root, the sacral, and the solar plexus, are the most foundational frequency transmitters in the human system. They handle the raw data of survival, identity, and personal power. Now, look at the internal state of a typical human being. The conscious mind is thinking about abundance, projecting a thought wave that says, "I desire success." But the foundation of that person's energy system is entirely out of alignment. The root center is vibrating with the heavy, dense frequency of survival, fear, and lack. The solar plexus is emitting the erratic frequency of unworthiness or social anxiety. In the science of wave physics, when two waves are completely out of sync, they create what is called destructive interference. They crash into each other and cancel each other out. This is exactly the phenomenon occurring inside the human blueprint. The intellect broadcasts a fragile wave of desire, while the massive, heavy energy centers broadcast a tsunami of desperation. The quantum field is completely neutral. It does not understand vocabulary. It does not care about what you think you deserve. It only reads the dominant frequency of your vibrational blueprint. Because the lower energy centers carry far more electromagnetic weight and density than a fleeting conscious thought, the heavier wave completely dominates your signature. When your dominant frequency is lack, the field mathematically mirrors lack back to you. The very thing you desire is physically repelled by the frequency of your own desperation. Desperation is not a pulling force, it is a violent pushing force. Consider the mechanics of the solar plexus in a practical context. This center, located near the pit of the stomach, generates a measurable electromagnetic field. When a human being operates from a state of deep insecurity or frantic ambition, this center becomes hyperactive and erratic. The blueprint becomes distorted. When this person walks into a room to secure a business deal or meet a potential partner, their energetic field interacts with the environment long before a single word is spoken. Quantum entanglement ensures that the particles in that room respond to the dominant wave introduced into the space. The erratic, desperate frequency of the solar plexus interacts with the fields of the other people present. They feel an instinctive resistance. The environment naturally pulls away, the deal falls through, the connection fails, the person blames their communication skills or the economy. In truth, it was a perfect success of quantum physics. The erratic blueprint flawlessly repelled a harmonious outcome. The question of how this is fixed is where the greatest illusions exist. The immediate human assumption is that a fix requires an action. The mind assumes it must perform a complex ritual, learn a new mental trick, or force the universe to comply through sheer willpower. But the resolution of the vibrational blueprint is not an action, it is an understanding of coherence. In physics, coherence is a state where all parts of a wave system are perfectly synchronized. A standard light bulb emits incoherent light. Its waves scatter in every direction, which is why a light bulb can only weakly illuminate a room. A laser, however, is a coherent light source. Its waves are perfectly aligned, traveling in the exact same phase. Because of this coherence, a laser can cut through solid steel. The human energetic system operates on the exact same principle. The fix is the natural result of achieving internal energetic coherence. This coherence happens when the massive contradiction between the mind and the subtle body is resolved. It is the realization that wanting something implies that you are separate from it. In a unified quantum field, broadcasting the signal of "I want" is exactly the same as broadcasting the signal of "I do not have." The repair of the blueprint occurs when the system drops the frequency of wanting and shifts into the frequency of resonance. When the root energy center settles into a state of profound stability, it naturally ceases its frantic broadcast of survival and danger. When the solar plexus drops its need for external validation, it ceases its erratic broadcast of unworthiness. The dense, chaotic energy of desperation simply evaporates from the system. Without the interference of fear and lack, the energy centers naturally align. The individual is no longer projecting destructive interference into the quantum field. The system becomes like the laser, clear, aligned, and entirely undisturbed. In this state of baseline coherence, repulsion automatically ceases. The mechanics of the universe take over through a principle known as sympathetic resonance. If you place two identical tuning forks in a room and strike one, the second tuning fork will naturally begin to vibrate, even though it was never touched. The sound waves interact, and resonance transfers the energy. When the human vibrational blueprint is clear of desperation, it becomes a pure, coherent tuning fork. It naturally resonates with the potentials in the quantum field that carry the same harmonic frequency. The things a person previously chased are no longer pushed away because the heavy, repelling force of lack has been removed from the subtle body. The collapse of the wave function begins to yield physical realities that match the internal stability of the chakras. Reality simply conforms to the blueprint. There is no struggle, no endless chasing, and no friction. There is no mystery to why life feels like an exhausting battle for so many. They are in a constant state of combat with their own energetic architecture. They are attempting to build a grand structure with their intellect, while their subtle body actively dismantles the foundation. Understanding the vibrational blueprint is understanding that a human being is an active, continuous participant in the physical universe. The alignment of the ancient energy centers with the fundamental laws of quantum physics is the baseline of human existence. When the internal frequencies are brought into a state of coherent resolution, the external world has absolutely no choice but to reflect that exact same resolution. Reality is merely a mirror of the blueprint. When the blueprint changes, the reflection changes.